What's up, Titan fans? How we doing? Welcome back to another episode from the What's Up Titans Fans pod, where we're going to do a quick end of week 17, all of week 18 a recap because I've been out a majority of the week. I was planning on coming back after the holidays, but then, I had a roofing company come to my house, replace my roof. They busted a gas line, so I've been dealing with that. They're a pain to deal with right now, but I should be having heat on soon. Right now it's freezing in my house, but hey, we must drive on, one day at a time. That's how we got to take it, baby. But let's go ahead and get started in things because we're going to be doing a recap or a post-game video to the Titans versus Jags. So it's all going to be all in here. We're going to talk about the Titans versus Jags. We're going to do pregame for us versus Houston. We're going to be looking at the upcoming draft order as that pertains and who we may or may not get based on Tankathon, and look at some of these predictions that the NFL analysts have put out for this week. But as is people starting to gather into the channel and everything like that, let me go ahead and insert the plug real quick. If you're not following me on YouTube, TikTok, and X, make sure to follow me on all three platforms. The handle's the same no matter where you go. It's the What's Up Titans Fans pod, where I put out videos all throughout the week. I'm talking Monday through Friday with these pregame videos, postgame videos. Oh, we're also going over the ESPN Power Rankings in this video. It's going to be kind of a longer video. We got a lot of things to hit to catch up for this week right now. Let me go ahead and adjust something real quick because something's going on the side real quick. All right, so yes, we're going to hop into all these things. So just make sure you sit here, you like, subscribe, and leave those comments down below so we can have a conversation with each and every one of you because it goes back and forth, chat. That's how we do it on this channel. So let's go ahead and dive into things. So first off, let's go ahead and look at the post game for last week, right? We ended up losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-13. No one thought we was going to lose this game. I mean, when you pull up what the ESPN analysts thought about it, they ended up having us, I don't know. No one thought we were going to lose this game because it was the Jaguars. Just like the time we played them last time, we ended up losing. Who thought we was going to get swept by the Jags? But we ended up getting swept by the Jags this year, which ended up being good for us in the long run, right? You want us to win games. You want to have these victories. But now we're at the point in the season where it's just like we have to lose. I mean, we're so close. We worked so hard to get this top tier draft pick. So right now, yes, we got an upcoming game. We got one game left. But right here against the Jags, we lost again, to Mac Jones. He ended up coming in, beating us. He threw a couple tutties on us. Mason Rudolph, luckily this was his last full start of the season because next week, as we're going to talk about, we have split reps happening. But this week it was Mason Rudolph. No one's impressed with Mason Rudolph or wants to see him on the field. But anyway, let's go ahead and look real quick at this game because I didn't have a chance to do it this week. Like I said, I had a lot of things going on this week personally, so Mason Rudolph, though, he had his, just a typical Mason Rudolph game. Wasn't super horrible, wasn't great. Mason Rudolph is never really that great. He typically doesn't make that many mistakes, but he still does because he's Mason Rudolph. He threw that interception, got sacked a few times. That's the story of the Tennessee Titans right here. But he was 19 of 31, 193 yards. No one expects much from him. I hope he's not back next year. If we continue on with this, we still got Will Levis for some time, because he's only been on the team a couple years. It's a 4-year deal coming out when you're getting drafted. So as long as they don't feel totally lost with him, they'll end up keeping Mason Rudolph, and we're either going to get a veteran QB in the offseason like a Kirk Cousins or Sam Darnold or something like that, or we could draft someone depending on where we are in the draft and how far up we're willing to draft a QB, considering the right side of our offensive line is still horrible to this day. And, we've made multiple picks year after year after year trying to fix this offensive line. I'd hate to spend another top-tier draft pick on an offensive lineman. It is the least sexiest thing you can do when it comes to draft picks. But Tajay Spears, he did break 100 yards, but at the end of the game, he ended up getting tackled for a loss, went out with his concussion and stuff. So he ended up being under 100 yards by the end of the day, which is wild. But 4.8 yards a carry for him. Mason Rudolph scrambles sometimes. Calvin Ridley got his 5 catches. I know this upcoming game, he's very, very close to that 1,000 yards. He's wanting to hit it. But, just an unimpressive game all the way around. We put up points at the end of the game in garbage time. So it is not too impressive. I mean, we made it look a little closer here toward the end, but we're just not a good team this year. We're not a good team. I don't have much else to say about the Jags because that's old news, living in the past. It's good we lost the game overall. So we'll go ahead, close that portion of the show out because we got to go through things. We got to get through things quick right here because this game right here against the Houston Texans, the team that's always crying about the uniform, about this logo right here in the background. You see it behind me. You got that big oil rig right here, right behind me. That's what we're repping this week. Look, I even got the hat on this week. I switched it out. I wear the same one all the time, but I'm going to go ahead and switch it out for this week because this is Oilers week right here. Even though I hope we lose this game, we need to lose it. I'll never be disappointed in a win, but there's so much on the line for this week. So much on the line, chat. And look, the ESPN, they have the Texans winning this game. 55% chance, So they definitely have an upper advantage to win this game. And then if you also look on the NFL analyst picks for this week, they do have 7 of their 10 analysts picking against us this week. So that's good in that way because typically these ESPN analysts are very right with their picks, chat. They are very, very right when it comes to Tennessee Titans games because for the season so far, out of all 16 of the games we've played so far, we're about to hit game number 17, but for the 16 picks, right? There's 10 analysts that pick each and every week. So that's 160 total picks for the year. They have been right 118 times of the 160 picks, which is at 73.75%. So almost 74% of the time, these guys are correct when it comes to picking Tennessee Titans games. And so far in the year, they've been right on over half their picks each and every week besides 2 weeks. That's because they picked the Tennessee Titans on those weeks and we ended up, basically embarrassing them, proving them wrong, right? You shouldn't pick the Tennessee Titans in a majority of these games. This is not going to work out great, chat. But look, they know what they're doing. They're picking the Texans, and let's hope they do. Hopefully the Texans plays their starters, right? That's what we're going to need is the Texans to play their starters because we're going to have split quarterbacks for this game. Will Levis is coming out to start the game is what they're saying. It's going to be Will Levis to start the game. It's supposed to be split reps between him and Mason Rudolph. They're doing that thing. I'm not sure if they're doing half like the first 2 quarters, Will Levis, second 2, Mason Rudolph, or if they're just going to switch them in and out depending on who's playing hot and who's not, right? But the game is in Tennessee, so this is the last game of the season. It's going to be in Nashville. I know there's going to be the stadium may not be that full, right? Because we're all planning on getting beat. We're trying to. I know you get a lot of hate out there when you say you want us to lose, but I mean, what's the point of getting this last win of the season if it's going to drop us from? Right now, we're the number 2 pick in the draft. This could drop us down to like 6, 7 if we get a win. But if we end up losing and then the Giants end up winning, I'm not sure if we can bump them to be the number 1 or not. But, man, that would be nice. Last time we had a top pick like that, who did we get? We got Marcus Mariota. And I did like Mariota. I thought he played well for us, And he did fine till he broke his leg. After that, when he went to other teams, obviously he lost confidence. You saw the Mariota stuff. You saw the interviews that happened, like when they did that thing with him, Patrick Mahomes and them, and he just looked so down. He had no confidence, and Patrick Mahomes is there just like perking him up, like, oh yeah, remember that play you did against the Chiefs? So Mariota did lose some of that swag he had. I mean, but you saw it sometimes when he was in Tennessee. It's when he trucked that one dude and he kind of looked down at him, gave him that look. So, he just lost that over time. But yeah, so for this week, we're versing the Texans. We still have lots of people out. Chig's questionable. Pollard's still questionable, so we'll see if he plays. Otis Reese is still out. Jalen Duncan, which, I mean, we have a rotation at right tackle anyway. Colton Dow, he's out. Texans got a few guys out, but, hopefully they play their starters. Hopefully C.J. Stroud's out there playing because, I mean, really there's no benefit to them really playing besides just keeping warm, getting the reps in, But other than that, it's not like they're trying to battle for like a number 1 spot or anything like that to get a bye week. No, they're just out there playing football, right? Just going out there to collect a paycheck. But you can't get out there and you can't rest everybody. You only have so many people on your roster. So you can rest some of your top guys, maybe Shroud and stuff like that. But he hasn't even been playing that well this season. If you look at Shroud's stats, he has 3,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I mean, Will Levis, he has almost 2,000 yards, but he has 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So both quarterbacks do the same amount of interceptions. I know Will Levis got a crazy amount more fumbles, because especially at the beginning of the season, it was wild how much he was fumbling the ball. Rushing, though, hey, look, Pollard cracked his 1,000 yards. He's barely over 1,000, but he may not play at all. He's questionable. We'll see, but I know they plan on dressing Jabari Small in them. I think Chestnut's planning to get a bulk of the carries because Spears ended up getting a concussion, so he's not going to be playing this week. I know Ridley's going to play because he's been talking about getting that 1,000 yards. He needs like 60 yards or something for it. He's very, very close to it. So Ridley's going to be out there trying his hardest to get some receptions. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the next thing, these power rankings, chat. Look at this. It's been all year, right? We've been teetering at 31, 32, sometimes 28. We finally made it, chat. We finally made it. We're dead last in the power rankings. I think we did hit dead last one other time. It was around like week 4 or something like that. But now we are back at the bottom, dead last, 3-13. It is tough. We dropped from 29 to 32 because we lost to the Jags. It's talking about the biggest offseason contract situation to watch. We're talking about NWI. NWI, he does catch touchdowns, right? He has been open catching touchdowns. I hope we don't pay NWI big money. He's not a big-time receiver. Yes, he does, manage to get open, I guess in the red zone and get tutties. But he's not winning big one-on-one jump balls. You know what I'm saying? He's just being left wide open, and he's catching these balls. So I hope we don't pay this man big money. That would be quite the shame. You know what I'm saying? If we paid NWI big money. Let's go through some of these real quick. The Giants are right above us, in the power rankings, even though technically they're still above us in the draft order, right? They drafted number 1 overall. We're number 2. But according to ESPN Power Rankings, they beat the Colts. They put up 45 points on the Colts. You saw Drew Lock out there making plays, got the swagger. It was like the old Drew Lock back in college, right? But, hey, they're talking their biggest offseason situation to watch is Darius Slayton, their wide receiver. So we'll see if they end up giving him big money. Patriots right here sitting at 3-13 as well. All of us 3-13. Bottom of the league teams. They lost to the Chargers 40-7. Blown out. They dropped from 27 to 30. Their biggest offseason contract is Jonathan Jones, their cornerback. Next, we got the Browns sitting over here. Oh, we got Chris the Rebel in the chat. Hey, we appreciate giving us D-Hop. Oh, man, he must be a Chiefs fan. I think Levis is the issue also. Yeah, Levis is an issue. He's a big issue. I mean, you saw when they brought in Mason Rudolph, it wasn't that big of a difference, though. Some of it is, but, I mean, our offensive line's so bad. Our receivers aren't getting separation and getting open. I don't know if it's play design, like the system, or what's taking place. But you can't put it all on Levis because especially some of these fumbles he's getting, it's just the right tackle, just letting the guy come in. Hey, OK's in the chat. Long time a subscriber over here. He said, hello there. What's up, OK? I see you. But we're trying to get through, do a big week wrap-up. I was out all week, right? I had a gas leak in my house from the roofing company. I don't know. I made videos on it. It's down in the channel. Just go ahead and look at it if you're curious. But, so I'm trying to get caught up on things right now because I missed basically the entire week. I was out all week on all these. He said those 4 picks he threw, I don't know what he saw. Yeah, Levis be throwing picks left and right. I mean, that's why he has 12 picks on the season. I know at one point he was leading the league in turnovers because he was fumbling the ball nonstop, flicking it backwards, doing all this crazy stuff. So he definitely has to turn it around. The Jets, oh, yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, his quarterback situation, they're talking about maybe paying him, but he's also rumored to be coming to the Tennessee Titans as one of the veteran rumors. It could be Aaron Rodgers. I know he has land in Tennessee. Talk about Sam Darnold. and Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins, you could get him very cheap if, the Falcons release him because they would just have to pay a majority of his contract. So we could end up getting an Aaron Rodgers, but he's been playing tough. I mean, it's been tough for him. Like whenever he left the game for the Bills, yeah, they were like when they scored these points, that's whenever they brought in the backup guy Johnson. He says, do you think they're giving Levis another chance next season? Probably not. He will have a chance as a backup because he still has 2 years left on his deal. So we're not going to release him, We'll just keep him on the team as a backup. But they're definitely going to get a veteran QB, hopefully a good veteran QB, not like a Mason Rudolph, a career backup veteran. No, they're going to go after like a Aaron Rodgers, a Sam Darnold, which I don't know. Sam Darnold's like a 1-year hit type guy, right? So I don't know if I would really trust that. They'll try some of these guys like Kirk Cousins and stuff, but if not, they'll have to go in the draft and we'll have to get some young guy. But we still have the offensive line issue, and that's the big thing right there. He said Carson Wentz. Yes, Carson Wentz could be the guy. I mean, we saw how he was, though, when he was in Indy, you know what I'm saying, with the Colts. So I don't know. Carson Wentz, man, he's kind of inconsistent. He did have his few good years, in Philly and everything like that, but that would be a tough sell for me. That would be a tough sell, Chris. All right, then we got the New Orleans Saints sitting at 27, 5 wins on the season. They dropped 23 because they beat the Raiders, and they ended up dropping in the power rankings. But they got to talk about Derek Carr this offseason. Chat, y'all think Derek Carr or the Saints should re-sign Derek Carr? I mean, that would be a veteran QB available, if they're talking about his offseason contract situation. Is he going to be available for the offseason for the Tennessee Titans to pick up? But I don't know. I'm not a fan of Derek Carr at all. He said, we'll see him this weekend starting in Kansas City. Oh, yeah, they're sitting. Yeah, I heard Kansas City sitting their guys this week because – they're the number 1 seed. They only got 1 loss on the season. They've been dominant, for the most part. I mean, well, not really dominant. They haven't really been dominant. That's what's weird about the Chiefs. They haven't really been dominant. Not like the Lions. Like, you see the Lions, even though they got a couple losses, the Lions, though, when they go to places or teams come to them, they be blowing teams out, like putting up 40, 50 points. It's crazy how the Lions do it. The Chiefs, on the other hand, they be close. Very close games getting them, but they're still pulling them out, so that's what's going on. Give me your thoughts on the Raiders. Betting line, they are trading up and trading away. The Raiders, yeah, they have a QB situation over there as well. I mean, you've seen they've been starting O'Connell or whatever at QB. They have a lot of stuff to fix, just like my Tennessee Titans, right? They might be at the bottom of the league for some time, unless they can get a top quarterback, which we'll see. We're going to go over the NFL mock draft through Tankathon. They already posted who they think is going to be picked based on where people are positioned right now. Now, everything's going to change after this week, all draft positions, just like the Titans. We're number 2 right now, but if we ended up getting a win, which would be disastrous, right? If we ended up getting a win, we could drop all the way to like number 6, 7 or something like that. So that would be crazy. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Said Rattler don't look ready. They need someone other than Carr. Olave will play, so we'll see with a better wide receiver. Yeah, Rattler, I don't believe in Rattler at all. But Olave, yeah, he's a good receiver, so we'll see how he does. What about the Titans trading for Russell Wilson? He's a veteran QB with maybe a year or 2 left in his bag. Yeah, I mean, I like how he's doing this year. Obviously, I didn't like how he was doing with the Broncos. His time in Seattle, but you see it all the time, like QBs, they just get a change of scenery. Sometimes it's just one situation. I mean, you see it with Baker. You see it with Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold went from bad team to bad. He finally got on a decent team. Baker, he did pretty good for the Browns. I liked his swag. I like his confidence when he was in Cleveland. Then he went to the Panthers, and it was just almost a career ender for him. And he got a little revamp when he went to the Rams, and now he's doing really good for the Bucs. So you never know with Russell Wilson. But, I mean, it's just tough sometimes when you're talking about a quarterback like that, a little older and everything like that. I mean, I'd almost would rather Fields, Justin Fields from him instead because, he has a little bit more time on him. He's a little faster. He can move around, everything like that. But Russell Wilson, at least he can throw the ball for the most part. Said, I like AOC. He's been looking good in my opinion. AOC. Chat. Chris, explain that more. I don't know what the acronym stands for. Give it to me. I'm trying to put it together. I just can't. But it's talking about the Panthers with J.C. Horn. Oh, he's going to be top dollar if they got to pay J.C. Horn. He's one of the better cornerbacks in the league. So that's going to be top dollar for the Panthers, and they still got to figure out all their QB situation, see if they want to stick with Bryce Young. I know he's done better the second half of the season, but it's been up and down consistently for Bryce Young. Oh, Aiden O'Connell. Oh, okay. Got it. My bad. I just never heard his name be abbreviated as AOC. The only person I've seen with AOC in their name is that Democratic senator person, But yes, that's a tough situation for him. I don't believe in O'Connell at all at QB. He hasn't looked good in my opinion. But that's for me. The Jacksonville Jaguars. They're 25 right now, ranked 25 in the power rankings. They did just beat us. I mean, they swept us this year. They got the sweep on us. They jumped from 30 to 25. And they got to talk about Evan Ingram for their tight end situation. And we got to see how they're going to do with I know you just paid Sunshine a ton of money at QB, but we'll see how he's going to end up doing, because it was a tough year for him after he got the bag, right? He said that is way too good for the Jags. Yeah, 25 is a little up there for the Jags. But, I mean, all these teams below them are pretty bad. I mean, can you really say the Panthers are better than the Jags, the Saints, the Jets? I mean, it's kind of tough. Then you start getting to these 3-win teams down here. And I know the Jags, they only got 4 wins, and us Titans, we were 2 of their 4 wins, right? We amount to half of their wins for the season. But then we end up getting finally up here. Let's see, to the Bears. This is where we are right now, the Bears. That's another situation, right? We thought Caleb Williams was going to come in here. They had lots of hype coming into the season. They ended up beating us week 1, even though Caleb Williams didn't look good that game. They still got the win over us. But, they got 4 wins on the season now. They're ranked at number 23. And they're talking about Keenan Allen for their contract, which you got to surround Caleb Williams with weapons. That's something you need to do, and that's a good veteran receiver to have, instead of just getting these young guys that may not know exactly what they're doing. You need a good leader, especially when you have a young QB in the back. He said, I like Pollard, and really, we sold y'all a lemon with Snead from what I hear. Oh, yeah, Pollard, he's been good for us, right? He's got over 1,000 yards already. He's been good. He's probably not going to play the last week of the season. He's questionable right now. They're preparing our backups. Ridley, it's been up and down. You can't fully blame Ridley because, we got a first-year play caller in our head coach. He's never called plays in the NFL. And, it took him a little while to get used to, that was something they even spoke about, was him calling plays to playmakers on your team, or designing plays around certain playmakers on your team, especially early in the game, to get them into the game and get them rolling. So some of us are our head coach, being a brand new head coach in the NFL, and this is his first time calling plays at all, because when he was in Cincinnati, he didn't call plays as an offensive coordinator, right? He just kind of ran the system, which was the same system that Zach Thomas runs, right? The head coach over there. So he was just running the system with him for like 5 years. Never called plays. So some of that has to do with the play caller. Some of that also has to do with the quarterback situation, right? Sometimes Levis would throw him the ball 8 times in a game, but of those 8 passes, 5, 6, or 7 of them weren't even in a catchable range, Or he'd be like triple coverage, and they're just trying to feed it to him, and they're throwing it at his ankles. I mean, what can you do? Snead, though, on the other hand, he's just been injury prone. He looked fine the first few weeks of the season, but since then we haven't seen him. I think week 4 might have been the last week. He got hurt in that game, and we haven't seen Snead at all. Hopefully next year when he comes back, Snead can be productive. I'm not sure if he was just letting the injury linger because he knew we were so bad. He was like, why even go out there, even chance injuring myself? But I'm not sure. So we'll see come next year with Snead. He said, with really Pollard and D-Hop before the trade, I thought Levis had all he needed. Yes, Levis was definitely surrounded with weapons coming into the season. when you look at it on paper, all the offseason acquisitions that the Tennessee Titans did, you definitely thought this is the year for Levis to make it or break it, right? This is his prove it year. He has everything, but for some reason, things didn't mesh together. We ended up getting rid of D-Hop. I'm not sure what's taking him so long to mesh with Ridley because it seemed like he always had chemistry with D-Hop. Like last year when they were together, he was hitting D-Hop on almost everything. This year with Ridley, he can't hit him. I don't know what's going on with it. But, yeah, we're basically going to have to restructure a lot of stuff in the offseason because we definitely have to find another weapon at wide receiver because we just have Ridley. I mean, NWI, they talk about giving him a contract in the offseason, but NWI he's not a number 1 or a number 2 receiver. He's like a maybe a 3, but probably a 4 or 5 that just comes in if needed in certain situations. You don't want NWI as your top receiver. So to me, Levis is a bust. Yes, it is tough for Levis. Do you really need to say bust, though? Because he was a second-round pick. We didn't waste a first-round pick on Levis. It was a second-round pick that he just kind of fell to. So, but he's definitely not living up to second-round potential. I'll tell you that. It's definitely looking like we could have went in like the 3rd or the 4th round. It is tough right there. He said, why did y'all let Derrick Henry walk? Well, the reason we let Derrick Henry walk, right? Our owner, Amy Adams, right? She wanted to modernize this team, right? She got tired of the run the ball consistently, play good defense, that Mike Vrabel type of team, right? So she wanted to modernize the team. You see all these teams out here passing the ball. You see the Chiefs or the Rams or whoever is out there making big plays. They're the ones putting up 30, 40 points in a game. They're looking good like the Bills or the Lions, right? So she went out there looking for a head coach that was offensive-minded because Vrabel's defensive-minded. So we had a few years where we looked good on offense, right, when Arthur Smith was our offensive coordinator. But as soon as an offense starts looking good, what happens? Your offensive coordinator gets hired as a head coach somewhere else. So you can't maintain that consistency. So we got an offensive-minded head coach. He sold her on all this stuff about collaboration, being modernized and all this other stuff. And so we wanted to move away from when Derrick Henry's in the game, we're running the ball because that's how it was. Derrick Henry was in the game, we're running the ball. He comes out, and guess what? More than likely, it's a pass play because you take him out, we normally brought in some little bitty back there, to be a receiving back. So it made us kind of predictable in a way too. So we wanted to modernize the team, and it takes more than 1 year to take away like 30 years of old school football. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to take more than 1 year to modernize this team, change things around. So we'll see how things go next year. I don't want to fire our head coach. It's only been 1 year. You get these teams that get in this coaching carousel where every year you hire a new coach. Don't want that. Let them try it again next year. Get a new offseason, a full offseason to work with. More players. Because so far, him and Ron Carthon, the young cats they brought in, they've been pretty productive. If you look at our draft from this last season, all the players been pretty good. T-Sweat's been good. Latham's been pretty good. Even Jarvis Brownlee Jr.'s been pretty good. The only guy that we haven't seen much of was Cedric Gray, which is like a 4th-round pick because he's been injured the entire year. He said, I'm selling government-issued baby raccoons tonight. All right, Benjamin. Yeah, okay, said what the yeah. All right, yeah, that's some odd info right there. He said, I was at a Chiefs game in Arrowhead when the Titans and Marcus Mariota beat Andy and Alex. I was also there when they locked up Henry. That was a scary Titans team. Yeah, since McNair, it's been no real number 1 QB. Well, for a few years, just to counter with it, for a few years, Ryan Tannehill was doing pretty good. He had an excellent few years. I know he didn't get a lot of credit because you had Derrick Henry in the backfield, but there was a few years where Ryan Tannehill was the man. Now, his last couple years, it was a little rough for him, but when we had Arthur Smith and we were doing that play-action pass, it was looking outstanding. There was at one point where we led the league in points scored per game. That was that season when we was the number 1 seed for the playoffs. So we've had good parts in time with a good QB, right? And I know not supposed to say Aaron Rodgers. I know Tannehill, wasn't great his entire time here, but for like 2-3 years, there was a point where he was top tier, and it looked really good. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on. Look, Colts right here, 7-9, dude. Look at the win difference. You go from 4 wins all the way to 7 with the Colts. Lost to the Giants. What a bummer for these boys. Dropped from 21-22. They're talking about paying their defensive end in the offseason. Cowboys. Hey, we got any of them boys in here? Any boys in the chat right here? Them boys? Hey, we're talking about them Dallas Cowboys right here. 7-9. Lost to the Eagles 41-7. Hey, you saw after the game. They're talking about Micah Parsons. I believe it was him in the interview right here, too. And he was like, hey, if we didn't really lose that bad. He tried saying all this stuff about it was only like 4 or 5 plays. You take away the big long play and this and that. Hey, it's a close game, bro. 41-7, brother. It wasn't a close game. I don't care how you try to put it, how we tried to cherry coat it. Wasn't a close game. But Micah Parsons is one of the better players in the NFL. San Francisco 49ers, 6 wins on the season. They lost to the Lions, which everybody's doing. He said, we got a thing from OK real quick. Like I said, I like the Jaguars. That is too good for the Cowgirls. He called them, yeah. He thinks the Cowboys are up a little too high, even though they got 7 wins. Really, if you go below the Cowboys, other than that, they're only above the Colts who have 7 wins. Other than that, everybody else only has 4 wins. So, you can't really put any of these 4-win teams above them. Maybe you could put the Colts above the Cowboys, but they're somewhere in this area, somewhere around here. It's just that there's so many bad teams. Like the separation is so severe this season between some of these really good teams that you're seeing, like the top tier teams and these bottom tier teams. The separation is so massive. He said injuries ruined the Cowboys season. I think beating the Bucs helped them. The Bucs are a decent team this year. They should make the playoffs and everything. Did they clinch it already? I'd have to look that up to see if they got the clinch, because I know the Falcons were right on them. So we'll see. Where are we now? The Niners, they're talking about Brock Purdy. They're talking about him getting his big season contract. What do you think about Brock Purdy as a QB? Brock Purdy, he's, typical, old school pocket passer QB. He's young. He was the very last pick of the draft, 7th round pick. Come in. He's been pretty good, I know he has a good surrounding cast around him, and a lot of people don't like to give him credit because he had McCaffrey and stuff in the backfield, but he's been hurt, obviously, most of this season. They only got 6 wins, but, McCaffrey seems to always be hurt each and every season. So, can you not really give Brock Purdy the credit that's due? They got to pay him something. I wouldn't give him top tier money, but you got to pay this man something. Cowboys weren't supposed to beat the Bucs. Bucs clinch if they win. Purdy is a good QB, needs a run game like Dak. Yeah, this year he lost his run game, doesn't have McCaffrey back there. So Bucs win and they're in. We're going to have to look up who they're playing. When I get done with the power rankings, we'll look real quick to see who the Bucs play this week. Arizona Cardinals, 7-9. They beat the Rams, jumped up from 2019. They're talking about their linebacker White is the big season that they might have to sign. We'll see what they do with them. Dolphins, 8-8. They beat the Browns 20-3. Browns, it's a tough team, right? Talking about their safety, Holland. Bucs play Saints. Saints are garbage. So Bucs should win that game. Baker should win that game because the Saints are not a good team. It's tough for them, and I know they're having their quarterback issues and stuff like that, but it's not the year for the Saints. And the Saints they're like one of the craziest teams too, because they started 2-0. They look dominant. Grant, I know that they was against the Panthers, and I forgot who the other team was, but for the first couple weeks of the season, they were beating teams by 40 points. Then they went on this crazy 7-game losing streak. Then they finally won a game. But the Panthers 8-8. They lost to the Commanders 30-24. They're talking about they got to do something with Kirk Cousins in the offseason, their contract situation, which, I know they already paid this man for 4 years or however long his contract was. but they're starting Michael Penix, right here, what they're talking about. He was benched for Michael Penix in week 16. So we get to see what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins, maybe a future Tennessee Titan. That could be one of these veteran guys we're talking about, because if they release him, we can sign him for like the veteran minimum. We'd get Kirk Cousins really cheap, can still get a right tackle in the draft, and then try to get quarterback next year or something like that. It depends on if you believe in these rookie quarterbacks coming out. I mean, do y'all believe in Shedeur Sanders? He played his collegiate career, at Colorado. I mean, who do they play? I mean, you saw when their bowl game they just played, he didn't look that good in that game. Colorado doesn't have a really hard schedule. And then who else is coming out in this draft? Ward? I mean, you believe in Ward or even Quinn Ewers? I mean, they're still in the playoffs. I mean, but he has a really good team around him. But you really believe in Quinn Ewers? I mean, and he's injury prone too. Quinn Ewers is always getting hurt. So we'll see how that rolls around. Seahawks 9-7. They beat the Bears, low-scoring games, 6-3. Oh, they talk about Geno Smith. I am not a believer in Geno Smith at all. Hey, he says, I love big women. Hey, everybody's got a type, Jim. Everybody's got a type. But they got to talk about Geno Smith over here. I don't believe in him at all as a QB. I wouldn't want to sign him as my franchise QB. But, I mean, they're 9-7. They got more wins than the Tennessee Titans, so they must be doing something right. The Denver Broncos, they're sitting at 15. They're talking about Nick Bonito as a linebacker for the offseason. Hey, Chris, again, he said the Saints supposed to play starters, so we'll see Rattler and Alvin and Olave. I believe they can play. If they can play Josh Allen, North Dakota, Mahomes, Texas Tech. Huh. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But it is going to be their starters. Yeah, Saints should play their starters. I mean, they might as well. I mean, unless they're just trying the tank, but they have nothing else to really play for. They've already been eliminated from the playoffs. So, and unless they just want to see guys out, I think that's how the Tennessee Titans are swinging it. They're not going to play all their starters full time. They want to see what some of the young guys have for next season, a.k.a. tank, which is what we need, right? So you can kind of swing it to be like, we're not tanking. We're seeing what other guys have, for next season. So you're not tanking. You're just testing the waters out, resting some of the starters, letting some of the starters heal, get an early heal in, so. The Texans, sitting at 14, leaders of the AFC South. They clinched the playoffs. They're leading the way right here, 9-7. They lost to the Ravens, 31-2. Yeah, that was a difficult game to watch. Stroud once again. It's looking tough for him. He's been up and down. Sometimes he has a good game, but he's definitely not having the season of last year. It's definitely like a sophomore slump that they talk about over here. But they got to figure out what they're going to do with Diggs. Diggs is a good receiver. We'll see if he finally gets a second contract somewhere. But they got to work with Stephon Diggs. Bucks, here they are. This is who we were talking about. Hey, Bills on top said, yo, what's up, brother? Welcome to the channel. Look, we're at number 13 right here in these power rankings. We got a few things to go over for this week. Running behind. But, yeah, they beat the Panthers 48-14. They got wide receiver Godwin that they got to sign, Chad. What do you think about Godwin? You think he's worth the big dollars? I know Godwin's getting up there in age, right? He's got to be getting up there in age. He said, where are the Buffalo Bills? Oh, we haven't gotten to them, but they're going to be, probably in the top 3? Yeah, Godwin's 28. He's a little younger than I thought. So, Godwin's 28. So, they got to sign him, see what they're going to do with him. Cincinnati Bengals 8-8 at number 12. They beat the Broncos 30-24. Oh, yeah, this is going to be a tough one right here. Look what they got to deal with in the offseason contract-wise. Jamar Chase. This guy's going to make bank. He's going to be balling. Jamar Chase. He's going to be one of those guys that wants to break the record for the high or be the number one paid wide receiver in NFL. Jamar Chase is definitely worth the money. Godwin, that we were talking about earlier, I'd be a little bit more iffy would give him top dollar. But Jamar Chase, that's top dollar all day. Bill said, nah, Bills are probably at number 4 is where he's thinking. Yeah, we'll see in a second. He said there's some bonus money out there. Like Mike Evans needs 85 yards for $1.5 million. Murray needs a touchdown, $1.7 million. Yeah, there's definitely incentives. That's what Calvin Ridley was talking about this week. Because if he breaks 1,000 yards, I think he needs like 60 yards or somewhere around 60 yards, then he gets that big bonus. So he said he's going to be out there working for it. He's trying to get the ball. Hey, Bill said, yeah, even though they beat the Chiefs and the Lions, those are two of the toughest teams in the NFL, and y'all got wins on them. That's wild. Lions sitting at, I said Lions. The Rams sitting at 10. They beat the Cardinals 13-9. They got to see what they're going to do with Cooper Kupp this offseason. Cooper Kupp, man, this guy is old, huh? Take a gander real quick. 31. He's in his 30s. A little older for a receiver. And you see he's battling injury. He's always getting injured because he fights hard. But, hey, they got to see what they're going to do with Cooper Kupp. You think he's still going to be just as quick? We'll see. We will see. He said, no, the Chiefs suck. They just have the refs. Yeah, that's true. But the Chiefs aren't blowing teams out. I said it earlier. Where you see the Lions and them, they're even the Bills. They're blowing teams out by like 40 points. It seems consistently. The Chiefs, they're winning. Their games are so close, and that's why they say the refs, right? It comes down to like one or two critical calls in critical situations that's being done by the refs, and they're getting these wins. So. It is. He said, hey, Bills got to show it in the playoffs. So, hey, he's saying Bills got to show it in the playoffs, brother. Dude said, got to go. All right, Bills, hey, thanks for stopping in. We welcome all teams, all fans of all teams, right? Hey, Steelers, though, they're sitting at number 10. We're finally in the top 10 talking about them Steel Boys. I know there's a few people that come consistently to the channel. I love them Steel Boys, but they lost to the Chiefs 29-10. Biggest offseason thing, Russell Wilson. Yeah, you think they're going to keep Big Russ, in the offseason over here? He said, hey, we will now that we don't have Stephon Diggs. Oh, yeah, he's not a Stephon Diggs fan. Stephon Diggs, hey, he's going to see if he gets paid big money over in Minnesota, right? So, let's see. Quarterback Russell Wilson, you think they're going to end up re-signing him, or they're going to go with Fields or go in a different direction? He's been pretty decent for him. Oh, he said he hated Steph. Bad blood in the water over there. Bills Mafia, baby. Let's see at number 9. Commanders, 11-5. They beat the Falcons in overtime. And then they got to sign Jonathan Allen to his offseason contract. Let's get to the next. Chargers 10-6 beat the Patriots 40-7. Asante Samuel Jr. That's going to be a big contract. He's one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. He said Amari Cooper way better. He's liking the Amari Cooper over from them Cowboys, from them boys. You know what I'm saying? Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love's proven it this year, right? And it's not just Jordan Love. It's also their head coach, Matt LaFleur. I've said this before many times on this channel. This guy, he knows his play. He's one of them coaches who makes plays for his players, right? That's one thing we're lacking in Tennessee. It took us a while to get Ridley started, but you saw when we had to verse Malik Willis, what happened, right? Jordan Love's out. They designed the game around Malik Willis, made plays that adapted to him, which we don't see. When Malik Willis was on our team, I know that was under Mike Vrabel, but we tried forcing him into our scheme, didn't work out. And we see it time and time again where they do that stuff, but good coaches can design plays around their players, and he's done that with his team. And look, they're sitting at 11-5 now. That's even with Jordan Love missing multiple weeks of the season. And they got to sign Jair Alexander, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, right? So they got to do that. Even though they lost to the Vikings, they ended up losing to the Vikings by 2 points. But yeah, they're sitting at number 7. He said he went to the Browns after them. Yep. Yeah, you got him from the Browns. Hey, Buffalo is a great team. I'll be there in Arrowhead when y'all pull up Hollywood and Worthy. Too much speed. Jordan Love, best QB in the NFC when he wants to be. Baker is the best in the NFC. Oh, we're saying Baker's the best QB in the NFC. I like Baker's attitude. I don't know if he's the best in the NFC, but he's definitely got the best swagger in the NFC. I love that man's attitude. I love the passion, the emotion. Oh, look, AFC fan over here for the Bills. Look, we're talking about the Ravens. And look, if you're a fan of this channel, you absolutely know I hate the Ravens through and through. I mean, they're sitting there digging their cleats into our logo at center field, right? So they're doing that stuff. And unfortunately, one of the greatest Titans of all time, Derrick Henry, went to the Ravens. I like Derrick Henry a lot. You know, he's one of my favorite players of all times from Tennessee. But he went there. I hope he has an excellent season like he's been doing. Hopefully he does well. But I want the Ravens to lose every game. Unfortunately, they only have 5 losses on the season. So they were at 6 last week, still sit at number 6, and they got to sign a big offensive tackle. If they don't get them, hopefully the Titans get them because we need some offensive tackle help. He said, y'all just mad that Josh Allen had 26-yard run against y'all. That was to Chris. Oh, Chris, he's talking to you in the chat. Let's get to number 5. Philadelphia Eagles, right? They put the beat down on the Cowboys. They dropped, even though they got a win, they dropped from 3 to 5. And they got to sign their linebacker, Zach Bond. And the Eagles, even though they have 3 losses on the season, I just got to say, the Eagles, I think they have one of the better rosters on paper, right? They're number 5 in the power rankings, but they have like the best team on paper. I mean, try to tell me a weakness this team has. I mean, you're looking at Jalen Hurts. You know, they got A.J. Brown. They got Smith. They got Barkley, you know. Then on defense, they have like one of the best defenses in the league. So the Eagles, even though they're sitting at number 5 on paper, I think they got the best roster in the NFL. Hands down. Best roster in the NFL. So, sitting at number 4, though, only 2 losses on the season. The Minnesota Vikings, they beat the Packers barely. And look, they got to figure out what they're going to do. They're talking about what they're going to do with Sam Darnold. Would you keep Sam Darnold? Would you trust him after a 1 year of, I mean, he's had a really good year, but a 1-year wonder after having so many years of bad, like you just back-to-back years. Now all of a sudden he has 1 good year. And I know he's got weapons, right? He's got Justin Jefferson. He's got Addison, you know. He's got all these weapons around him, you know. But would you keep him? Let's see. Chris, he said, I have nothing but love for the Buffalo Bills fan. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't been able to draft Mahomes. Do it in the playoffs. He said, yes. So I don't know if that's yes to do it in the playoffs or yes, keep Sam Darnold. But either way, Sam Darnold, that's going to be a tough decision, you know, because they did draft J.J. McCarthy. So you got to figure out what you're going to do with that, right? That whole situation. You put a high draft pick for J.J. McCarthy. Do you want to keep him? You know, is he going to be back healthy? Because he did re-injure himself trying to rehab. So we'll see. He said, all y'all's team is Taylor Swift. All the Swifties over there for them Chiefs. Darnold is a good QB, but McCarthy is better, coming from Chris. Yeah, we got to see how McCarthy does. When he was in college, he did hand off the ball a lot. So we'll see how he does in this situation. But he does have top weapons around him. So if he's anywhere where he can succeed, it's this team, you know, the Minnesota Vikings, and how well they are. I mean, you've seen how they turned around Sam Darnold's career. All right, let's look. Here it is, the Bills. We finally got to them, sitting at number 3, 13-3. They beat the doors off the Jets 40-14. They went up from number 4 to number 3. And look, since we got a Bills fan in here, look, they're talking about what y'all gonna do with Amari Cooper. You're gonna sign him the big money. He's the big off-season talk for you guys right now. Amari Cooper. What's gonna happen with him? Let's see what they said. It says, after trading for Cooper mid-season, he's set to become a free agent. He has impacted the offense, but just has 20 receptions for 297 yards and 2 tutties, and is playing the fewest snaps of his career at 45%. So what you say about that, though? Look, he's saying that only 45% of plays Amari Cooper's out there, but they got to pay him big money. He said, it's funny, we eat both the teams on top of us, or beat both the teams on top. Oh, yeah, beat both the teams. Yeah, or eat them. Yeah, we're talking about them Lions, 14-2. Boy, they could have put up 70 points on the Tennessee Titans, but they showed mercy. They stopped at, 52 or whatever it was. They showed mercy because they still had the whole fourth quarter to work with, and they just ran the ball the entire fourth quarter, brought in Hendon Hooker, and luckily just stopped the beatdown, stopped the bleed, right? But they were number 2 last week, still at number 2, and they got to sign their quarterback, Carlton Davis. And, when I talk about the Lions, I always like to mention their head coach, right, Dan Campbell. When his first season as a head coach, he only had 3 wins on the season. Tennessee Titans this year, 3 wins. So you can't give up on these coaches, right? You got to give them time to get their roster, get their team. You can't just be like, hey, you're in and out, that coaching carousel. Let it develop. Let the system fall into place, chat. You got to do it. We saw it with the Lions. It works. It works if you do that. I mean, if you give them a few years and it's still not working, hey, time to move on. But you can't be one and done in this league. He said, this is from Chris. He said, I'd be liking the Chiefs since my favorite player is Joe Montana. Went there. Chiefs been the Chiefs long before Taylor, and you know that. And he said, how are the Chiefs at the Lions? Wait, how are the Chiefs at 1? Lions deserve it or the Bills? Well, the Chiefs only got 1 win. That's why the Chiefs are at number 1. Only one team beat them this season. And yeah, it was the Buffalo Bills, right? But they beat the Steelers 29-10 at number 1. And they got to figure out what to do with Hollywood Brown this offseason. He said Taylor Swift is the only reason y'all won the Super Bowl. Oh, and refs. Yes, Taylor Swift and refs. Hey, when Chiefs and Bills are in the playoffs this season, the big main teams on the AFC, the Chiefs, the Bills, and then the Ravens, right? It's going to be one of them 3 that really has the Super Bowl chance over there because, the Texans aren't going to do it, and whoever else is over there. Those are the main 3 teams. Typically, the Chiefs and the Bills always end up playing each other in the playoffs, and the Chiefs seem to have the number of the Bills in the playoffs. But we'll see how it goes this year because Josh Allen, if you look at the stats for Josh Allen and his year he's having, which we can pull up, Josh Allen is having an outstanding season. So just real quick, it's a little off topic, but Josh Allen right here, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Look at that difference right there. That is insane. He said Chiefs lose first playoff game. And then Chris said, so the ref made the Bills kicker miss the field goal. Okay. Yeah, we play the Broncos first, not threat. Yeah, the Broncos, I don't see them having a chance against you guys. That doesn't seem like it's going to be a close game, chat. Not at all. So real quick, since we're done with the power rankings, I just want to take a quick peek, before the show ends, to look at the mock draft to see where they got people situated over here. So this is from Tankathon, right? Tankathon, they do a mock draft thing. They have it updated after every game, the draft order updates, and they resituate where they think people's going to go. So on here from Tankathon, right, they got Travis Hunter going number 1 overall. Number 1 overall to the Patriots, right? So if the Patriots keep their number 1 spot and everything. And if we end up losing this week right here, we will stay at number 2. And they're showing Shedeur Sanders. And then right after is Cam Ward. But how do you think Shedeur Sanders over in Tennessee would work with Daddy Prom, micromanaging, or at least saying everything, his thoughts could imagine on X to us, right? He said, I don't want Travis Hunter in my division. Yes, that would be a tough one. He plays both sides. You see it over here, a cornerback and wide receiver. That would be a tough competition to have, in your division. So we'll see if that stays where it says. Yes, I like him going there. Y'all got the weapons, and it would sell tickets. Yes, Shedeur Sanders would sell tickets, and I'm telling you, that would be a top-selling jersey in Tennessee. I would have to get one immediately, as soon as it became available. Pop, it's going to be mine. And he would have to figure out his number situation, right? I think he's number 2, and we have Tajay Spears as number 2, so we'd see how that would work, what number he would wear and everything like that. But the order is going to be just think, chat. The order is going to be finalized this weekend. Now I know we got some Chiefs fans and we got some Bills fans, so y'all order is not going to be decided for some time. You know what I'm saying? You got the whole playoffs to decide the rest of your order. But for us here that are Tennessee Titans fans, we might find out if we're going to be number 2. By the end of Sunday. Tomorrow the game starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. So. is typically over by like 4 o'clock, 4:30, somewhere in that range, 4 o'clock. So we'll find out if we're gonna stick at number 2 or not. So that would be nice, right? Shedeur Sanders, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions on the year. Let's see. He said Ohio State will win the college football playoffs. Oh, he said the games would be sold out. Yeah, that would be definitely be sold out at first if Shedeur gets drafted. Ohio State will win college football playoffs. That's more than likely. I mean, they are looking so good. Look, I'm a Tennessee fan, right? Even in college. So I was ready for them Vols. I'm all like SEC. Hey, we're about to come and dominate, show everybody. Look, I don't know why y'all made it a 12-team playoffs. The SEC is about to come in here and beat all these schools. But unfortunately, hey, we got showed up. Chad. They came and they saw, they conquered, right? So we got blown out by Ohio State. They blew out the next team. You see all these SEC schools losing. Georgia lost, to Notre Dame. You see Alabama, who they were saying they should have been in the playoffs, all this stuff. They end up losing. SEC is in trouble, right? The only team left is Texas, and Texas wasn't even an SEC school last year, and that's what we're depending on in the SEC to prove the SEC is still the dominant school. But hey, it is what it is, Chad. It is. He said every home game is sold out. Yeah, remember Bills versus Titans. Yes. I mean, I feel like anytime, especially this year, man, if the Bills, man, you guys would dominate us. But yes, let's real quick. Let's just look at the QBs, some big players for this mock draft. We can stop on what they say for the Bills and the Chiefs too. Who they say y'all gonna get since y'all active in the chat. But yeah, Cam Ward to the Browns. That's who they're saying. They're gonna give up on what's his face, Watson and Winston, both of them over there. Give up on them. He said it was a good game. Oh, yeah, okay. He said, I like the Titans. I have family in Tennessee. I wish y'all give Houston Oilers. Oh, no, brother. No. We got to keep it. Hey, we got to keep it. Look, they were the Houston Oilers, right? And then, I know a lot of the players are upset about it, right? Like the J.J. Watson stuff. But they were the Houston Oilers. The owner moved to Tennessee, moved the team. They were still the Tennessee Oilers for like a year. Then they decided to rebrand. They're like, there's no oil rigs in Tennessee, right? Let's rebrand, remake the team, make it a big T, all this stuff like that. So they went with the Tennessee Titans. But it was the owner's team. It's their rights to the team. You're not just going to just give it away for free. It was later on, another businessman decided to make a new team there. So he had to make his own team, his own name, all that stuff, while the Oilers are still owned and trademarked by the owner of the Tennessee Titans. So we're repping it this week because it is that week where, we're going in the throwbacks, baby. Let's see. Alabama should have been over SMU. Yeah, you would think so, but after watching Alabama get blown out, it did not look like it. I mean, SMU and Alabama both ended up getting blown out in their games. Ohio State is definitely unstoppable. It's going to go number 1 when it is time. Yeah. Ohio State's definitely looking good. I mean, you saw what they did to Oregon, who was the number 1 team in the country, undefeated, blew them out. Quite embarrassing. He said, at least y'all scored 10. Yes, James. I'm sad the Sabres lost our last 4 games almost. I'm glad the Sabres lost. I'm a little confused by that one. Sabres? Are you talking about? Hockey. Okay, hockey. Okay. Gotcha. He said, man, that was my bad. That's what I thought you were talking about hockey, but I didn't want to get I didn't know if we were going that far off. Buffalo, yeah, Buffalo Sabres. Yes. Okay. Man, that was my bad. I'm glad I was betting with OSU. Yeah, Buffalo hockey, yes. Man, hockey, if you want to talk hockey, man, because I'm a Preds fan, it's been tough, bottom of the league. I think we're only above the Blackhawks. We're figuring out this goalie situation. We ended up signing Saros to a big deal. He's up and down. He's one of those guys where he's going to give a shutout like he did the other day, or he allows 5 goals in a game. It's crazy. It's crazy. But, yes, let's keep going down. Okay, Cam Ward. Let's see who else they got. Abdul Carter, he's a big Tom player. Big Tom plays, saying the Panthers. Let's see who else they got. Starks from Georgia, good safety, saying the Saints. Oh, Ashton Genty, look, first runner back off the board, of course. Runner back Boise State to the Cowboys. How would that be, man? That'd be almost like old school Cowboys right there. You know, you're talking like the Emmitt Smith and everything like that. Old school Cowboys. Who you got, Cleveland or Baltimore? Baltimore, I mean, you gotta have it, you know, unless Baltimore's sitting everybody. Hey, big James Pierce over here. Tennessee man right here, James Pierce to the Cardinals. That's exciting right there. Yeah, he's a good player, you know. He's just a little small, right? He's a little small, fast, tries to get sacks. Sometimes he sucks in the run game, but hey, James Pierce right there. Who else they got real quick? Oh, there's your Ohio State receiver right here. Yeah, to the Steelers, them Steel Boys, that's what they're saying. And then if we look real quick at you guys' team. All right, they're throwing defensive lineman to the Bills, Derek Harmon out of Oregon. And then, hey, offensive tackle to the Chiefs. Let's go. He said, hey, Josh Allen is starting QB for Pro Bowl. Hey, yeah, speaking of the Pro Bowl, man, Tennessee Titans had 0 players selected to the Pro Bowl. One of 4 teams, 0 players selected to the Pro Bowl. But I think we had about 4 or 5 that are alternates. So there is still a chance some players can make the playoffs, but they're not going in like because they earned it, right? They're going in because other guys aren't committing to it or they're going to be playing in the Super Bowl or whatever. So you don't think Cleveland can beat them? Baltimore's playing for a division. They can't sit no one. Yeah, if they're not sitting anybody, nah. I can't see Cleveland beating Baltimore. That would be wild. But you never know. You never know with those type of games, right? We have Dawkins and Allen. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, unfortunately, this is what I don't like right here. Tennessee Titans picking an offense. I know we need one. Our right tackle sucks. But dang, dude, I hate picking offensive linemen so high. It's just not sexy. It's not exciting, you know. Isaiah Bond, good receiver out of Texas right here for the Browns. Jalen Milroe, Alabama QB. Not the greatest QB, right? I mean, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. You saw him in the bowl game. It did not look that good for Jalen Milroe. What else they got? Oh, Quinn Ewers right here. Because, you're talking about O'Connell and stuff for next year. They're saying Quinn Ewers to the Raiders right there. Quinn Ewers, he's still in the playoffs. 29 touchdowns, 11 interceptions for him. Hey, Bills is out. He said bye. Okay, all right. Let's see. Let's real quick. Anybody else as we're about to wrap things up? Especially any quarterbacks. Where they're saying these boys are going. These are the first 3 rounds. Oh, here's a big one. Jack Sawyer right here for the Bills. Jack Sawyer, that would be a steal. So y'all going for Sanders or the trading block. Y'all need a QB. Yeah, we definitely need a QB. Hands down. Hands down, brother. Let's see what else. Any other QBs real quick. Where are they? Oh, no, that might be it. Oh, last one right here. Last QB on the board. It's going to be the Dolphins with Jackson Dart. I like Jackson Dart. Look, 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Just Ole Miss don't really have a defense. Their defense kind of sucks. But 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That wouldn't be bad for them. Some type of insurance since Tua's always going down. You saw how they did when Tua got hurt. Hey, there's like a completely different team, right? They can't operate without Tua on the field. But that's going to go ahead and do it for today's episode. I appreciate everybody being there. It had to be a long episode because it was a recap of everything I missed during the week due to certain situations, where, the roofing company busted a gas line in my house. And we had to, I still ain't got heat in my house and it's like 20 degrees. So it is what it is, but we're rolling through it. But yeah. That does it for today's episode. Appreciate all the comments y'all did down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tighten up, baby.